here. The power's going. Oh, that's really sweet. I needed that today, Whimsy. I needed just a nice, cheerful song with children and purity and laughter and love.
I am so sick of the news.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you mean.
I am so sick of all of this. Hello, all of you wonderful, gorgeous people in YouTube land that have decided to hang out with Chucky Poo and myself.
Now, YouTube land. Yeah, I love that.
I swear I have one ear that's higher than the other side.
No, your ears are perfectly balanced, Whimsy. In fact, you look perfectly balanced today. I think more than I can say for myself. It is, I don't know what's going on in the collective energy right now. I'm anxious to talk to Joyce Petrus, our astrologer.
Oh, I'm hoping she can come on Thursday. Well, I want her to be a regular visitor.
Yeah, I'm going to talk with her tomorrow, hopefully, and we'll just make sure everything's all worked out with the internet bugs and so forth, and hopefully she will be on Thursday. But I don't know if other people are going through bizarre things, but just to say very quickly here, if I seem kind of frazzled, yesterday I woke up to a pounding on my door. It was my neighbor from below saying that water was coming in through his ceiling. I got up, went into my bathroom. There was like an inch of water on the bathroom floor. The hallway was flooded. Somehow my faucet just got a little loose and water was streaming down.
Sounds like little tiny Siamese paws.
Yeah, little Siamese paws. That occurred to me. And there was some clog deep down. And so guess what? All the water overflowed. So we got it fixed, but I've been spending the last 2 days drying stuff out and it's just been chaos. And I said to you, I promise it won't affect the show today, but I've been like, it's been a lot. I'm laughing about it.
Listening to this story.
Anyway, enough about me. How are you, Whimsy?
I'm doing amazingly well. I'm getting a lot of work done. And of course, I am expanding. We now have is it called a Substack? We have Substack. We have Reddit. We have Facebook. We have Instagram. And we finally got our numbers back from Facebook. And Chuck and I happily can announce that we had over 5 million views last month on Facebook.
I am so ecstatically happy about this and grateful to all of you out there. And as I said to you, Whimsy, I said, I'm just happy for you. You've been doing this longer than me, and you have worked so hard to build up these channels. And it's for you I'm happiest. I really mean that.
Oh, well, it's for you. I'm happiest, Chuck.
Thank you.
Well, gosh, well, thank God you're okay. And thank
Yeah.
God, even though it was a flood, thank God it wasn't a fire, then you lost your home. I mean, this is something
Yeah.
as horrible as it is, you're in good shape. You're going to be okay. I think you're going to be okay.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
trust you, Whimsy, because you are a damn good psychic. You're very intuitive. If you're saying that, I'm going to trust that. You know.
Well, Chuck, we've got a lot going on today.
That's an understatement.
Why don't we go ahead and say hi to everybody? Everybody give a shout out and also a warm welcome to the incredible Joel Tilson. He is in the house. Let's go ahead and give a shout out to him.
Hey, Joel,
you can see him there in all of his glory. He is the official floor director for the Oracle of Whimsy. Any questions, concerns? He is the guy that is watching where the balls fly.
And he does a good job.
He does a great job.
I mean, already at the start of the show, I see all these, shall we say, provocative questions from Joel that we get to answer.
He does that for us.
That's good. That's what we want. So, but we want to say hi.
You do, yes. Please say hi to everyone for us.
The people who make this possible for us. And of course, right off the top, I see Ann Coleman, 6064, Sally Joe, 4267. Aileen, I hope I said that right. Aileen Levin. And of course, Joel Tilson is here. Brenda Rakestraw. Let's see here. Intuitive Kathy. Hello. Hello from and she says chilly South Florida. Where, as you can see, I'm like sweating and I've got my air conditioner on. We're going through like something in the 80 something degrees here, and it's hot here in Southern California. But anyway,
yeah, you guys are having kind of a hot thing happening over in California.
Yeah. So anyway, here, let me scroll a little further here. Lots of Joel Tilson comments here, and keep going down here. Try to find another name. And of course, here's Gigi. Hello, Gigi. And let's see, Vanita Nudd. Did I say that right? Vanita Nudd. Pardon me, please, if I said your name wrong. Brenda, no, I'm sorry, Rockin' Pony Lady. Kelly Knowles, 716.
Hi, Christy, Kelly. Hi, Rockin' Pony Lady.
Christy Price, 9769. There's Rockin' Pony Lady again. Wendy Burt.
Hi, Wendy. The official design for the hat. Yes, for the show.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Oh, here's a good name. Annie's Gifts. Tarot by Sharona.
Hi, Sharona.
Alice, 18042. I don't know if you need me to read all the numbers or not.
Well, we'll keep saying, we can keep saying hi to people as we go. Do you want to keep saying hi, or are we ready to get started? You know, I think we better get started. We've got 232 people. I think we can go ahead.
I think so.
We always play instrumental music, say hi to people as everybody finds the stream.
Yeah.
Listen, today is a special day, Chucky Poo. Do you want to tell people what is going on today?
We are going to be interviewing the wonderful Elizabeth Kelly Stevenson. Just met her a few minutes ago in our little virtual green room. She's a superb writer. And I love the comment right here at the top of the back of the book. The truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable. You know, it's about facing our truth, facing the lessons that come with truth. And sometimes that means facing some things that are not necessarily pleasant or we want to face, but ultimately it's very good and it sets us free. And when you say that's the theme of this book,
yes, I'm trying to get this light out of my face.
You're like me today. I accidentally pulled the charger cable out of my laptop. I pulled the cable out of my iPad. I almost knocked water over. How's that?
Yeah, I think I'm better than that. I just didn't like having that glaring. I always have the lights glaring right. It is something. It is what it is.
Beautiful, Whimsy. It's just strange energy right now.
Thank you. Yeah. So listen, what do you think of the book? I think we're going to have her on, but I can tell you, I'm just so tired of people behaving badly, and this book is all about people who choose to behave badly. I think. You know?
Yeah, but then that applies to all of us. Don't we all have people in our lives behaving badly? And most certainly some government officials that we eventually will name. Lots of people behaving badly right now, including a certain orange man. But we'll get to that later.
Right, we will. Okay, listen, folks. So at 6 o'clock today, please stay for our captivating interview with Elizabeth Kelly Stevenson. And yes, she will be doing a reading today. I'm very excited.
Yes.
I get so excited when a writer reads their stuff.
Yeah, it's always, I've said this many times, it's such a treat when you read a book that you enjoy to actually get to talk to the author, to meet them face to face. That's a treat. And hopefully it's a treat for all of you too who have read the book.
I have a lot of questions for her.
Good. I have some too. Mine are kind of jumbled all over the place here, but I have them too. And
then we also announced that we have a new book today. So we'll be switching books today on the 20th. And this will be so we'll be completing this, and we'll start another book in our Book of the Month series here at Taco Tuesdays. Chuck and I started this about 2.5-3 years ago. We absolutely love it. If you are an independent writer and you feel like it's time for your light to shine a little bit, think about sending your book to us, care of Dr. Whimsy Anderson, 1819 Southwest 5th Avenue, Suite 116, Portland, Oregon, 97201. And maybe your book will appear for our selection of the month. We do get a lot of submissions right now, but don't be discouraged. We really we do look at the books and we do read the books, and if your book is well written, it will make it. So don't be afraid to submit, and hopefully we'll have you in the studio.
I always think of that. I know it's a cliche, but the cream rises to the top. The really great books will get noticed. Not to say they're not all great books, because you've been getting some excellent submissions.
Sometimes I turn down really great books. It's just that this is not the right place.
I told you I used to work with, about 20 years ago, I worked with a literary agent, and it was the very same dilemma, because he got about 200 submissions a week, and I had to help him go through the manuscripts. And sometimes it was heartbreaking when you saw something good, but we just couldn't represent it. For different reasons.
But please send us your books. We do read them, we do discuss them, we do select, and we do promote our writers. Okay, let's get into it. The latest subject that everybody is talking about: has Trump gotten to a point in his insanity have you, that he's threatening to invade Greenland? You want to talk about
my God. Well, more so than just threatening to invade Greenland, he's threatening the leaders of the countries in the NATO alliance with outrageous tariffs. I've heard different figures, like 10% up to high as 25%. Right now, the stock market is plunging because of this. He's just creating all kinds of chaos. And just as we've talked about on this show, we've said there's just no way the NATO leaders are going to tolerate this much longer. Didn't you even say the underlying theme was, if you don't remove this lunatic, we're going to do it for you? And I think we're getting closer and closer to that, because Trump is really unhinged.
Well, I think that is really the issue, isn't it? That if we are so far gone the rabbit hole in this cult, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Nazi Germany, in the sense that they were so far gone in the cult that they literally couldn't snap out of it. And it got to a point where they were so destructive in the cult that eventually the entire world had to go in and put a stop to it. And what we're seeing is the rise of something very similar to when countries began challenging Hitler.
I agree. It's just, today he seemed particularly unhinged. When I was watching the beginning of the news today, this was, of course, the top story, but then he also gave a 2-hour live, I guess you would call it a press conference, press briefing, because today's the 1-year anniversary of his second term as president. And he was outlining all of his achievements, something about 365 fabulous accomplishments or something, all this nonsense. And if you saw any of it, you just saw a doddering old man. How can we put it? Who's losing his mind. He was slurring his words and going all over the place. And it was the press was talking about that. So it's getting closer to what we have been talking about in the readings. He's going to be asked to resign. The 25th Amendment. He's, as you said with Lindsey Graham, Mr. President, I give you the honor of resigning. I think we're getting very close to that. Clearly, the Republicans want to get rid of him. He's such a liability right now. They want to get J.D. Vance in there as quickly as possible so they can have any hope of securing the White House.
You're right.
Any hope of the midterm elections. They want to get rid of him quickly.
I think that a lot of the people that watch this channel, though, they think that you and I, by saying that, are supporting J.D. Vance for president, and that is not what we're saying. We're saying that our job as empaths is to try and get into the heads of what it is to be a Republican strategist. And if I'm a Republican strategist, I see that this guy is a lame duck, and I've got to make Vance as sexy, and I've got to redo Vance and make him sexy, and have him on shows like The View where he can woo and seduce the female voter.
They had Madami on The View today.
Who?
Mayor of New York.
Oh, Mamdani. Oh, how did
Mamdani. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. And he was just being charming as could be.
Exactly.
The ladies were just, practically melting in his hand.
Well, he's very good looking, so that.
But he's very.
That's my flavor. I like tall, dark, and good looking.
But he's very charismatic and has a lot of personality. He's clearly a rising star in the party. But when you said that about The View, it's a good platform to make people more attractive. I think that's why Marjorie Taylor Greene was on there recently.
Oh yeah, of course.
I don't know if you felt this.
They can make or break a candidate.
I almost sensed, this is just personal opinion, but I felt almost like she was auditioning for a permanent spot on the show.
That wouldn't be bad, they're always,
Well, they're always doing stunt casting anyway, and
voices.
Controversy. They want that. Yeah.
Not to have everyone be a liberal, because Joy Behar is very much a New York liberal, and then
so is Whoopi.
And we get sometimes she says things that are really like, give Trump a chance. When she said that, and people were just looking at her like she had two heads. Give this nut job a chance? Are you kidding me?
Sure.
Like, they're under the first. So she tries to be a little too judicious, I think, at times, and but she tries to steer away from rumors, and I get what she's trying to do. She's trying to be balanced, but I tend to find that she's not the most liberal voice. Actually, I think it's more Joy Behar. But
yeah, definitely
they do. Yeah, so they do need that kind of balance. But boy, what a crazy time we live in.
What a crazy time. And even when you said that about JD, I don't know if you know this, but it was just announced today that his wife is pregnant with their fourth child.
J.D. Vance?
J.D. Vance. And I mean, I know this is speculative and I don't want to be offensive in any way, but I could not help but think of the timing of it, because, they're trying to support his image, the family man, get away from Mr. Mascara and all that. Frankly, there are a lot of gay rumors about J.D. Vance. So maybe this was timed, if I may say that. I don't know how you feel about that. Can you imagine
being married to him? Like, why did his wife, who's a Democrat, sign up for this?
Well, also, when I saw the news story today, they said that the reporters said there have been swirling divorce rumors about JD and his wife. So maybe this is all meant as part of image rehabilitation. I mean, I hate to put it in such cold terms when it's a couple expecting a baby, but this has been done before.
Well, did you hear what the Nazi Fuentes said, where he was just gushing? Nick Fuentes, where he was like, is that how you say his name? Nick Fuentes?
I'm not sure.
He talks about Gavin Newsom. Yeah. And what he says is, Gavin Newsom I want to vote for Gavin Newsom because Gavin Newsom is this beautiful white guy. And he's going on and on about how great Gavin Newsom is and how horrible J.D. Vance is, because J.D. Vance is, married to a woman of color. Yeah. So it is very, very scary.
It is. I apologize if that was an outrageous statement on my part, but that was just the first thing that came to me. And someone even said here, no way, Vance's wife is a smart woman, but maybe she's being paid like Melania. Who knows?
Let me see what was said. I think I have I have like a 1-minute clip on this. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I can find it, but
yeah.
It's where he just went on. He talked about how much he would prefer the Democrat because the Democrat was this beautiful white guy and he was married to a beautiful white woman. And it just goes to show that just how insane these people are. It's not even about the politics. It's literally that's how brainwashed they are by gender and race. It's not about the issues. It's about gender and race.
Yeah.
After claiming he would vote for California Governor Gavin Newsom over Vice President J.D. Vance. Not over policy, but looks. In a controversial post, Fuentes said he prefers Newsom simply because he's handsome, using offensive language and attacking Vance's appearance. The comments reignited backlash, especially given Fuentes' past racist attacks involving Vance's family. Vance responded forcefully in a recent interview, defending his wife and condemning Fuentes by name. He made it clear that anti-Semitism and ethnic hatred have no place in politics or conservatism.
So what do you think about the fact that this kind of tension is building with the Republican Party, where you have these kind of split? They don't like J.D. Vance. I mean, I'm thinking as a Republican strategist, this is a serious split.
It is. It most definitely is. But he's all they have right now. And he is second in line. It's like inevitable. There's no choice here. They're going to have to back him. But hey, they've been backing Trump this last year, and as despicable and deplorable as he is. So I'm sure JD will be more like a breath of fresh air compared to Trump. But yeah, I agree. They do not. I don't think they like him very much. You and I have both been sensing, energy changes when we make predictions, but we've been feeling like he'll just finish out the term. And then the Democrats are more likely to seize the White House again.
Yeah, I mean, like I would want to do, if I had a publicist and a GOP strategist, I would want an image overhaul immediately on J.D. Vance, because it's very obvious that our candidate, Donald Trump, is out to lunch. He's like a rambling old man mumbling about invading Greenland. He's talking about going to war with Europe, our allies. And Europe has responded, rightly so. Either you take care of this crazy old man or we will. And then he starts screaming about Denmark, and he gets Denmark and Norway confused, right?
I don't know for a fact, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Isn't it Norway that issues the Nobel Peace Prize?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it's Norway with the Nobel Peace Prize. That's another story we haven't even covered yet, how he went crying to the do they call they're
all alike? Those white people all look alike to me. I don't.
Yeah.
Like
what was it that Trump said?
Scandinavians.
Trump called up the leader of Norway and said, well, you didn't give me the Nobel Peace Prize, and I ended 8 wars. And I do quotation marks there. He ended 8 wars. Well, peace is not a priority for me anymore since you're not giving me the Nobel Peace Prize.
You said that?
Well, I'm paraphrasing horribly, but that was basically the gist of it. I might have the actual quote written down here, but that's pretty much what he said to the leader of Norway. You didn't give me the Nobel Peace Prize.
Boys and go home.
So I'm not going to care so much about peace anymore.
The White House is my house.
Exactly. It's just, as his niece Mary Trump says, he's like a little 3-year-old child. But I mean, Trump, the whole world is just looking at him as a major embarrassment, just someone who has clearly gone off the deep end. I think there were even reporters today who were alluding to that this might be the final straw. This, and also imposing tariffs on the European countries and causing the international stock market to crash.
Well, the emperor has no clothes. There gets to be a point where, it's somebody just points out the obvious. This guy is a fruitcake. This guy is naked. This guy is nuts.
Yeah.
And I think we've reached the tipping point also when it comes to the Epstein files. Sasha Barros, the more information, Sasha Riley Barros, the man who claims that he was sexually abused by Donald Trump. I went into it not believing in that story. I thought it was like, oh, it's another internet rumor. Now that I'm researching it, I'm beginning to think, dang, this sure does make an awful lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't think that this problem is going away.
Oh, no.
1983, 1984 is right around the time when he's able to get free of the abuse, Riley, right? But here's something that, and people are like, no, it's not true, and Epstein wasn't around. I'm like, I just fell upon something rather unusual from 1983, and it's just, oh, it's probably nothing, but why is Epstein pointing out 1983? Here's a drawing that Epstein did, and it shows him enticing children. And he seems to be implying that from enticing children in 1983, he was able to enjoy the lap of luxury in 2003.
No.
So according to Sacha Barros, he was a young start that had gotten involved in trafficking and blackmailing people, trying to get dirt on people. So that was how he got started. And so finding other people that were into some sick stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's just really interesting that we have this drawing that Epstein has put out of him enticing children in 1983. And then look at all the money I got from that scam, like defrauding and filming and screwing over all these rich people with tapes. And now I'm sitting here on a private island. And isn't America great? That's the joke. Look at all the people I defrauded in 1983 when I did that kiddie porn thing. And now I'm sitting here in the lap of luxury spending their money.
It is just repugnant beyond comprehension. You and I have to follow the news because of our shows and all. But to dig into this, don't you sometimes just like, oh, I want to take a shower or something. It's so slimy and horrible.
It's slimy. It's also scary because
I know it's terrifying.
These are the people. You know what scares me the most about this whole horrible story?
What?
The fact that our feds are protecting them.
Yes. That's a good point you made.
That the FBI knew this in 1983.
Sure.
That Sasha Riley goes into foster care around 1984, 1985. That's right around the time when Goodall starts. Jane Goodall returns back to the United States, was around 1985. She was researching child abuse, studying how kids are affected, looking at chimps.
Yeah.
And 13, 14 is when he winds up in foster care for about 6 months, a year, or whatever. That would be 85, 86. What's interesting is I started looking at claims against Jim Jordan out of Ohio. And he said that he was attacked at one of those parties by Jim Jordan. That would have been around 1983, 1984, right before he goes into foster care. So Jordan would have been 18 years old, 17, 18 years old, and a wrestling star who then gets scholarship to go on to, what was it, University of Ohio? I don't know where he goes. He gets scholarships on wrestling. So it led me to wonder, was Jim Jordan trafficked? Was Jim Jordan was in that world of sexually abused people that, he had been covering for somebody. And then you have a story like that come out about Jim Jordan. And then you go backwards. Jim Jordan was born in 1964, which means he would have been 18, 19 years old at the time of the attack.
Yes.
Like, what the hell is this? What are we looking at, Chuck?
Things that have happened many years ago, but even coming to the light now, it's every bit as horrifying. And it just makes you wonder how much more. It's like, are we just looking at shall we say, the tip of the iceberg, the very beginning of all this? How much is underneath this? How many more shocking things there are to be revealed?
So horrible.
I mean,
I'm so glad we have Elizabeth Stevenson on today.
I'm glad we do too. We've talked about
seeing the truth.
Well, we've actually talked about this the last 2 or 3 weeks because of her book.
Yes,
there are parallels here.
That's why I'm glad she's coming in this month.
Coming to the surface. And if I may say myself, when you and I are doing our cards, you know how I keep getting that card truth It comes up over and over and over again. And I think you've been getting your own version of that within your tarot, but that seems to be a theme now. The truth is coming to the surface. There's no holding back. It is coming out. It has to come out. It's essential, much like it's talked about here. It's just essential.
Isn't that what they say about fire horse, that it comes swiftly to purify?
Yes, it is. In fact, Joel Tilson just said here, fire horse energy.
The purification of fire horse.
Exactly.
The fire pujas, it's when we purify with the fire ceremony. It's all about purification, burning off the excrement, burning off the toxic crap.
Yeah.
Well, he's going down in fire horse. He's I think he's a rat. Is he a rat? I know that Elon is a rat. And
more ways than one.
And he's not doing the work. He's not doing the work you're doing. He could be taken out this year.
Yeah.
Rats do not do well with horses unless they're willing to change.
Yeah.
This kind of horse could take you out.
I took your advice very seriously. You when you told me this in the days leading up to the new year, and I've been living my life accordingly. And who knows, maybe all this water in my bathroom and things like that.
This would be a good year. Excuse me. This would be a good year to go vegan and to become a Jain, to start practicing Jain. Jain is like vegans who chant and they harm nothing, and they are constantly trying to purify their karma and encourage others. Don't be violent. Don't curse anyone. Purify yourself. That is the kind of energy that I feel I can get from this year. It doesn't have to be so destructive, but I have to be willing to be part of that process, because fire burns, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to be a fun process if you're resisting it. You know what I'm saying? If you're resisting it.
Right. And I mean, I'm trying my sincerest best to go along with it, but as human beings, we're going to make mistakes, because this calls upon us to break a lot of past cycles. Things that we've been complacent with, used to, things that have felt normal to us. We're being called to let go of that, whether we like it or not.
They say that New York is a rat city, that it was founded the year of the rat.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the wood rat water or if it was the metal rat dam. I wouldn't want to be around that, because it could mean really harsh weather.
It could. I'm also wondering about Mamdani, their new mayor.
Big change.
He's taking them in a very radical new direction. Today on The View, we said, I am going to lead as a socialist mayor.
Well, we like that. It's the anti-Semitism of all that Qatari and Iranian money that got linked back through those super PACs. That's what people are having an issue with. We'll take the democratic socialism, but you can leave the anti-Semitism at home. That's the critic. We don't need money from Qatar and Iran.
Yeah. Haven't you been getting in your readings that he's going to be facing some turbulent times?
He's under criminal investigation. He is under investigation. To trigger an investigation, if they find more than $13,000 from foreign money, and they did.
Yeah.
But they openly said they took money from big, wealthy Muslim countries. And that's a shame, because I myself am a democratic socialist. And Israel was founded by democratic socialists, Golda Meir, Ben Gurion. We are democratic socialists, and our country's been taken over by Putin's right-wing Ayn Rand crazies out of the United States, and they've turned Israel in a very bad direction. It should have been moving towards integration, and would have been if democratic socialists have been able to hold on to the government. So it's a shame this rift is happening within the democratic socialist community, because it's definitely something that's good for everyone. It should be good for everyone. Democratic socialism is, I think, the best system out there, but that's my own opinion.
Well, he was certainly very persuasive today on the show. He really presented his case.
I agree.
Well. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this is
I just don't want foreign money and anti-Semitism or racism to be a part. I don't think it has a place in U.S. politics.
Yeah. I don't know if this is off track or not, but I found the exact quote of what Trump said to the leader of Norway. I don't know if you want me to read it now or not.
Yes, please. Yes,
okay.
Please,
he said, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars.
Denmark doesn't give the Nobel.
I know. But he said, having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace. And then went on to say, the world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. That was the actual quote today. Yeah, leaders are looking at him as finally having truly gone off the deep end.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they've been encouraging NATO to put up a system to protect the new trade route there. So you're not getting an argument from Denmark. Denmark's saying, yes, we need NATO to be there to secure, but that doesn't mean you get to take Greenland for yourself and its resources. No, it means we need to secure the waterways.
Yeah.
Wow. Speaking of Russia, I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say with Trump, you just follow the path of the money. He's about money and he's about himself.
Oh my
and
God.
While you can't believe a thing he says because he's a pathological liar, several have pointed out when he says he's going to do something, unfortunately, he tends to do it, or he certainly tries to do it. Sorry to interrupt it there.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Putin in hiding. Yes, people are questioning whether or not it was him at a recent event or if it was one of his doubles. People say he's gone into hiding. Now they're bombing near Chernobyl, and they're worried about nuclear waste dumps getting.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, what I saw because of the bombing, the power sources have been cut off to the Chernobyl plant, the nuclear power plant. And even though the plant is no longer operative, they still have to cool all of that nuclear fuel and matter and waste that's there. Otherwise, we're going to have a worldwide catastrophe. And thankfully, they do have backup generators right now, but they have to keep cooling that. So they need power. And that's been cut off right now because of the bombing.
It does make you kind of wonder what is... I have to change that. It does make you kind of wonder, does Putin just want to kill everybody? I mean, this is why he's the leading threat to the world. He was considered one of the most, he's more dangerous than Kim Jong-un because he has more firepower. Well, he has more ability to do more damage.
It seems like he shares this in common with Trump. They're both very vindictive, petty men who are all about themselves. And, several have said that Trump is not going to go gracefully or quietly. He's going to want to create some real chaos and mayhem before he goes. And maybe that's the same thing with Putin. When you said, does he want to kill off all the people or something? Might be thinking in those terms, vengeful terms. Not saying he's going to do it, but he might be thinking in those terms, like Trump.
Well, let's go ahead. We'll do the empath prayer, and then we will blitz away. A blitz is a quick 5-minute card reading per question so that we can get to as many questions. We'll blitz. We'll do blitzes. Anything else? Oh, yes. If you would like to receive a healing at this time, go ahead and give us your name or the name of someone you would like to pray for, and we'll include them in the empath prayer. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Let's go forward.
Go forward with that Knight of Wands.
Let's go.
All right, let's do that.
A lot to cover today.
We do have a lot to cover today. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say Amen. And for those of you today who are requesting a healing for yourselves and for those you love, we come together as a community at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again, collectively, we say Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed.
May all souls be healed.
Thank you, everyone, for those prayers. I can feel them when I say the prayer. I can feel them.
I know. It's a beautiful prayer.
Yeah.
in every way.
All right, we're going to blitz away. I guess we're going to get the order.
Yes.
So, Chuck, you want to
get a sip of water here? May I just...
yeah, sip of water and do the honors of
sorry,
reading.
and I splashed on my face. I'm sorry, I was trying to drink very quickly there.
Absolutely.
Is Trump following Project 2025 in order to snub out the Epstein files and enrich the oligarchs? Well,
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
I think that they've got him over a barrel with some snuff tapes or something, which is what I believe Sasha Riley, and Riley says they were filming people. 1983, right? Epstein said it himself. 1983 with those kids. I was luring kids in 1983, and look at how much money it resulted in. I'm sitting in the lap of luxury, my own private island with my own private plane, getting massaged by 4 or 5 people, right? So that's, I think that, look, I think they've already told us what happened. I think that Epstein is telling us directly. There's nothing hidden here.
Yeah.
I mean, this doesn't look hidden to me. This looks like it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I picked up kids as part of my trafficking in 1983, blackmailed people, and now I'm sitting here rich in 2003. It's a great country because there are so many people with money that you can blackmail. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And I'm admitting it in this cute little cartoon. Here I am luring the kids, and here I am enjoying the wealth afterwards. Put it together. 1983 was also when Sasha Riley meets Epstein for the first time. He's getting involved in the trafficking, the snuff tapes, and the blackmailing. So there you go.
Yeah, I was listening to you and pulling cards at the same time. This is a multitasking day. Very much so. But I did.
You said it.
Yeah, it's there. But, and answer the question, the main thing I got, first of all, it was setting up, the scenario, the community, meaning all of us, the people. Presently, there's enormous deceit and deprivation going on around this. Denial, meaning all the lies, the deceit that Trump is trying to impose on us with all of this. But it's going to lead. This is interesting. I got the death card, meaning not necessarily his physical death, but I take this to mean just the death of his presidency, his administration. This can only go so far because I also got we're heading into a new life.
The purification.
Fire. That's what it feels like to me. And I hope this is right. I was listening to you and doing this at the same time.
It's interesting. We're coming out of the snake, and the snake has. I got to turn my heat. My lights get really hot. I got to turn my heat down.
Okay. Are you still there? So you're just turning out your lights.
Oh no!
Turning down your lights, I should say.
Because I bought professional lights for the show, and
boy,
I've got a little studio here. It goes up 10 degrees after 15 minutes on the show. I'm like, roasting.
A little bit of trivia. In the early days of Technicolor in the 1930s, the Wizard of Oz, the soundstage would get up to over 100 degrees. Those poor actors in those costumes and everything. Because of the lights.
I've got multiple hot lights on me, so I'm just like, woo, you can see me. Okay, so what I see is, here's what I see, you guys. You guys want what I see? Here's what I see. I think there are good people in the FBI and the intelligence agencies that knew about the cover-up, and they're actively doing everything in their power to expose. You have the first house is the tower. This is going down. Trump is going down, the cover-up, everything. Not everybody in the FBI is a pedophile. There are people that join the FBI, people that join Congress that are actually good people. So you have this tower moment happening for him. And it looks like it's not just him going down, but Project 25 is going down.
Yeah, I'm sensing that.
What were you doing? Taking church funds and putting them in the heritage and then buying these blackmailed people, this contraband? Is that what we're talking about? Because that's damn what it's starting to look like.
Well, Project 2025, it's enormously unpopular, the American people.
They took church money to fund this. And then what did they do? They took a certain percentage and bought contraband tapes on people because it's all going to blow. And you want to know what the opposition is, Chuck?
Why?
This is going to be interesting for you folks. The high priestess.
Mm.
The hidden is going to be revealed, and it's going to cause a shock. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at this also. Look at this violent energy moving. Angry wind. That's the metal.
Yeah.
Metal gone crazy. This is when water gets on Gizmo and it's midnight and he eats. Gizmo goes caca. The gremlins. You remember that? That's Knight of
sure.
Total violence. But here's the final outcome. Knight of Pentacles. It's over. It's all getting exposed and they're getting taken out. That's my prediction.
Well, because I was doing these cards quickly while you were talking, I didn't fully think this through. I realized because, I got the community card, meaning all of us. And I tying that in with what you just said, I think people are just fed up with the deceit, the deprivation, the lies. Everybody is seeing through it. And they're saying, I'm not standing for this anymore. You're not going to do this. So I think it's very much leading to the demise of Project 2025, the demise of Trump, the demise of his evil administration.
I also want to say that they've already compiled a list of the victims, and they're going to start naming names. Either the U.S. government, which is actively involved in a cover-up, cooperates, or they're going to hear it first from the victims.
Yeah, we already are. We already are hearing from the victims, but it's just the whole lid has been blown off of this.
Yeah.
And that's why I said earlier in the show, it just somehow this feels to me like I'm talking in cliches, but feel like the tip of the iceberg. Like there is so much more that's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to get harder and harder and more horrifying. But again, it's truth that we have to face, as unpleasant as it's likely going to be. And we have to hope it's going to lead to a much better outcome ultimately.
Right. Will NATO alliance hold without Trump in office?
Offhand, I just want to say yes. My instinct just says the NATO alliance is so much stronger and more secure than this very weak little man right now in the White House. And how all the channeled messages I've been getting over the last few months, everyone's been saying the same thing. Trump is weak. Recognize that he's weak. We collectively are so much stronger, and most definitely the NATO alliance. 80 years now?
Yeah, they're really they're viewing what's happening in America as an emergency. This is how they view it. They view the events that are happening as an emergency, and the meetings that are happening with the World Trade Organization, the World Monetary Fund. They're not going to sit around and wait to see what else this lunatic is going to do. This is what the private conversations are. We sit around and wait what he's going to do next. We've got to be proactive now. We've got to be ahead of the curve. We've got to protect ourselves now. So you've got the hermit moving into 7th position. Mm-hmm. Experts coming in and drafting documents. So they're not going to wait and see what lunatic does next. They're being proactive right now. You can see that mastery and that intellectuals coming in because he has hamstrung them. They are terrified that they are going, look, he is weakening NATO, and that can only be good for Putin.
Yeah.
And the final outcome, they feel betrayed, stabbed in the back by the United States. What the hell are you doing?
I think many do. I have a very dear friend in Canada who tells me that's how a lot of Canadians feel right now. As she said to me, we love you, the people, the American people, but your government, we will probably never trust again. We feel so betrayed right now. I'm just trying to, I don't want to interrupt you if you're still doing your cards here, Whimsy.
Oh, I'm done.
Are you done? Okay, I'm trying to make sense of what I got here because I'm doing this while you're talking here. But right off the bat, it's very interesting, the cards that keep falling out of the deck again. Community, meaning all the people of the world, the citizens of the world, everybody in the countries. All of the shame going on right now. NATO is very much looking at priorities. Look what came up. The truth card. A lot of truth is coming to light. There's a lot of exhaustion. This card also just means tremendous frustration, dismay. I had it. That's going on right now. So, in response to NATO and their strength and how they're going to hold up, first of all, this card came out, partnerships and love, meaning partnerships, the bond between all of the nations and their solidarity. I also got family card, which basically means the same thing, like it's one big family. And ultimately, they're going to prevail. I got life force here. Life force. They are going to definitely prevail. And once again, death card came up again. And I think this applies to who. What's going on in America right now. There is just no way this is going to be tolerated. This life force is going to extinguish this. Pardon me. Tripped on my
Yeah.
Extinguish.
Yeah, it just feels to me like what happened was that they bankrupted us, that rich parasites and psychopaths and aristocrats, the very people that Epstein was blackmailing back in 1983, such a great country, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that have taken over and they don't want to pay their taxes. So because they don't want to pay their taxes, they are going to go ahead and bankrupt NATO and everybody can do whatever the hell they want. And we don't want to invest in these senseless wars. It's not about senseless wars. It's about protecting our trade and our investments. Otherwise, we're going to be hamstringed. We're going to be lassoed and surrounded by China and Russia. And we're going to be so isolated and broke, God only knows if we'll be even able to protect ourselves. And that's what people who say that don't understand, just how vital it is to protect these trade routes. I didn't know this stuff until I started remote viewing. And then I learned because I started watching all the trade. And and then I understood why Obama had to bomb Libya to knock that trade out. Like, oh, now I see the bigger picture. What's happening here?
Something interesting. I subscribe to Heather Cox Richardson on YouTube. I just got a bulletin here, just popped up on my computer screen. Her topic for right now is the world will move on without us. That's the literal heading that just popped up on my screen. Yeah. Okay. Putin is continuing his winter offensive against Ukraine with reckless disregard and cutting off power to Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Will he be stopped?
Yeah, Zaporizhzhia. I think that was spelled wrong. Zaporizhzhia. Well, let's take a look. I'm very nervous about the fact that the dirty bomb sequence is the most likely, right? Well, it's not him necessarily firing weapons at us. It's one of these power plants being turned into a dirty bomb. That is the biggest risk right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because right now they have backup generators. If something happens to that, this could be catastrophic. All that nuclear.
Just want him gone.
I don't know if it's nuclear.
Why is this taking so long? We all know what phase 4 is. Like, what's the hell is the problem?
Well, maybe things like this are going to stir other nations into action. They're going to look at this as not just an emergency with Trump, an emergency with him also, with Putin, not that they haven't already, but maybe this is going to give more urgency to action.
Right. It's unavoidable. If I were going to say anything to people, I would, if not that they need me to tell them anything, but if I could speak on this subject, if anybody was going to listen to me, I would say, for the love of God, listen to the math. Why are you this has gone on so long with Putin. What are we going to do? Sit around, be helpless while he drops atomic bombs or contaminates the whole? It's only going to get worse. He's as crazy as Trump. And so his mental illness is only going to get worse, which is why there is no way past phase 4. I wish we would just get it over with already.
The parallels fascinate me because it looks like both men are going to go out about the same time.
Yes.
And the circumstances in their own way are remarkably similar. As far as their mental illness, their insanity, their egos, their ruthlessness, their desire to take over the world. Like, I feel like Trump is trying to take over the whole Western Hemisphere right now.
When you see about Trump being taken out, how does it look to you? Like, it always looks to me like he's given an option: resign or we will physically drag you out of here.
That has always felt right to me also, intuitively. But I almost feel like he's got to be weakened even further before that can happen, because I just think right now Trump is going to, being the little 3-year-old toddler is, he's going to be throwing a tantrum. No, I'm not going. And it might come down to more brute force, like bringing the army into the White House or something and picking him up from his desk and taking him out. I don't know. But we've always seen it as, as you do your wonderful Lindsey Graham impression.
Mr. President, you cannot stay. You got to go.
Yeah. 25th Amendment. And I mean, it's just this statement alone from Trump today, that rambling 2 hours on television today, it is so glaringly obvious the man has lost his mind. He's a lunatic.
Sasha Barros met him. Sasha Riley, he was at one of the parties that Sasha was at. And Sasha said he would never forget Lindsey Graham because he remembered staring at him and saying, what an unusual man. What unusual. His impressions were, what unusual mannerisms. Like the way he moved and used his hand. And he said it was so unique and so unusual. I'll never forget that was how he knew for sure this is Lindsey Graham, because he was so unusual. Yeah.
Well, I know someone who has met Trump. I feel like I should probably protect his privacy, but he's a best-selling author, and he met Trump maybe 25, 30 years ago. And he was writing about this the other day. He said his biggest takeaway impression was he had never in his life seen any person with such a desperate need to be liked. That was his impression of Trump. He was almost desperate to be liked for whatever that's worth. That's what he told me.
What a dark spirit.
Yes. Well, so one of the comments on here, I forget who said it, but they said, we probably should be praying for Trump. Just
they say,
looking at him as a broken soul.
Man. Yeah. When I did the weekly reading, there were 3 messages that Spirit wanted people to get. Number 1 is prayer and purification. This is a time of prayer and purification. Clean up your prayer. The prayer warriors in this, but not in a hokey sort of way, but just keep your spiritual soul in a good place right now. And the second was to take care of your physical body.
Yes.
Those 2 things, because this is a harsh year that's coming. So take care of your spiritual body and your physical body. And the third is take care of, don't overspend and be frugal this year. Take care of your 4 walls. Make sure you've got emergency savings, your home is secure, and just chop wood, carry water while this energy passes. So those are the 3 gifts from the what do they say? Gift horse in the mouth.
Gift fire horse in the mouth, or something to that effect. But as you have been, Dr. Whimsy, as you've been proclaiming, this is the year for us all to be doing anti-inflammatory diets. Probably going to be a lot of inflammation in the body, a lot of heat. So as you reminded us, we need to eat things that are cooling.
Yes. One quick question, and then we're going to move on to our show, our book. I'm very excited about the book of the month, but well, let's do one more. Do you think, I have my opinion for sure on this, but do you think he's going to go to Davos, Switzerland summit?
Well, we actually talked about this just before the show, and we both thought he can't fly. How could he possibly even travel to it? I'm assuming it is in Switzerland, right?
The only way he could do it is if he had a stopover in Canada, then a stopover in Greenland, and he faked it, like made it that it was. Well, I'm going to do a stopover in Greenland, and I'm going to go look, and I'm going to go take a stopover in Scotland, and I'm going to go take a look. Yeah. And if he did that in 4-hour intricates, because he's doctor, doesn't want him to fly more. That's just standard of care, by the way. That isn't just Donald Trump. Anybody with that kind of lymphedema, that kind of edema should not be flying more than 4 hours at a time. Yeah. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll move on.
Well, to our show. I'm also wondering, could he attend via a video hookup?
If I was his doctor, I'd recommend that.
Yeah,
I mean, doctor, but I don't want him flying.
So if we're asking the question, will Trump attend the summit? Do we factor that into the question, or just?
Yeah, physically, is he going to physically go there?
He's going to physically go there. Okay.
See, now I'm thinking like a doctor. Like, it doesn't matter what I think of him politically. Just I instinctively, as a doctor, I'm like, please don't do this, sir. Let's see if we can come up with another way.
Yeah.
He's pushing 80. He's probably got congestive heart failure, edema. No, he shouldn't be doing long flights.
No. I see here. I think we know the answer anyway, but I'm getting something here that kind of bears it out. Do you want me to go ahead?
Sure, go ahead.
I think this is kind of obvious here, but anyway, the leadership card clearly refers to the president. That's what it's referring to. Well, the truth is coming to the surface. He's not going to be able to hide it. There's the shame card. I think we know what this means. And the truth card came up. I think a lot of stuff Trump has been hiding just can't be hidden anymore. It won't be able to be hidden much longer. And I'm getting that Trump is going to have no choice but to be in more of like solitude. And when I got, oddly enough, the rest card, even though sometimes it says the dove of peace and everything, I think rest more or less implies like doctor's orders. No, you're 80 years old. You're in bad health. You can't be doing this. Doctor's orders.
You know what I would do if I were him? I would fly to New York. I would do some business in New York. And then from New York, I'd fly to Scotland.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Joel Tilson just said Trump is on his way to Davos today.
Oh, he's on for that. He should do a stopover somewhere. He should do a stopover and rest if he's doing a direct flight. But we got this truth coming out. Look at this. Issues regarding coronary artery disease.
Yeah.
He must have gotten the flight okay. He had a 3 of Pentacles, and there he is. So they probably I'll tell you honestly, they probably put him on a ton of diuretics, dry him out. God, and you'd have to.
Everything. Yeah.
Because you're going to get so much edema on that flight. And then I would have him do a stopover, maybe one in Canada, one in Scotland, and then from there he can go to Switzerland, because that shouldn't be more than 4 hours.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds. If
he does a direct flight, that's going to be real hard on his health.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That was just what Joel Tilson said. And then someone else was saying he is not there yet. They're debating if he will even go. So we're getting different opinions here. But Joel just said the meeting is tomorrow, and Joel said he is on the way.
He's on the way. So I would do a stopover. I would do a stopover personally. If I was his doctor, I would do and I would have him be checked. But then going up and down is also hard on the pressure.
Yes.
So they're probably just giving him a ton of diuretic. Who knows?
Yeah, I know that from my own experience. When I was coming back from Europe, I had a head cold, a lot of pressure in my ears, and the landings were just excruciating as the pressure kept increasing. So I can only imagine how that would affect him physically.
Well, it's up to his doctor. If his doctor clears him, he'll fly.
Well, I know he's probably traveling with a whole team of doctors, wouldn't you?
Right. But he does not fly well anymore. Japan was a disaster.
Yeah, we saw that, how disoriented he was when he walked right past the Japanese prime minister, just oblivious.
Yeah. Not good.
Scary. So I will be intrigued. Yes.
Chuck, my friend, thank you, everyone. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing next. Chuck, do you want to do a little intro too?
We are... she's been in our virtual green room waiting to come on, the wonderful Elizabeth Kelly Stevenson, the author of The Trouble with Truth. And as you said, Whimsy, you alone probably have enough questions for the whole interview. I have some here, and we'll see where it goes. I'm very excited to have all of you meet her and for Elizabeth to read from her book, because Elizabeth, you are a superb writer. I just saw her pop up for a second there, and
yes,
you're a wonderful writer. And we were
Thank you.
Before the show, I always ask authors, is there something you want to be sure to cover, and ask, and maybe we'll go into it later, but you just spoke of your love of writing, and I just want you to know, because I love to write, I felt your love of writing in this book so much. I just want to say that up front. But where do we start, Whimsy? We've got a lot of questions here.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. First off, thank you for being kind enough to send me a copy of your book. And What inspired you to write your book? Like what and that, I guess that's my first question. Like what inspired you to finally do the deed and write the book?
Well, can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're doing great.
Oh, all right. I had the time, first of all. I had the resources to be able to take the time because I worked on this for about 5 years, at least 8 hours a day. I didn't know how to write a book. So I had to teach myself how to write a book before I could write the book. I have a friend who's an editor who offered to ghostwrite for me. And it hadn't even occurred to me that I would have someone ghostwrite my story. I mean, it's not like I'm Hillary Clinton or something. So but I said to him, well, then I wouldn't have written it. And I need to write this book. I also considered fictionalizing it. But I realized that for some reason, I've written 2 other fiction novels since. But for this one, I felt like it required me to step out in front of the character and not hide behind the character. So that's kind of, that was my inspiration. And I sort of felt like I've had these experiences, they could really benefit somebody else. And I have gotten that feedback over the years, so I'm pretty thrilled about that. I thought that I went through a lot of rough stuff and a lot of learning and a lot of encountering the truth, as you guys have been talking about. And there's absolutely nothing pleasant about that. It can feel deadly. It can feel like you're dying. And to face your life as it really is, as opposed to the way you have been taught to view it, I guess, conditioned, programmed, if you will. So,
yeah.
What was the biggest shock to you? Like of all the truths, what that you had to come to, of all the truths, which one do you think was the most difficult? Was it your marriage? Was it, and did you beat yourself up about that one? Like it felt a little bit like I've got to blame someone, like my best friend. I've got to, like, can you talk a little bit about that?
I did not blame myself. I should have, in a sense, because for the longest time, I used that old aphorism, it takes 2 to tango, but not in this case. I felt like, well, that was all about him. It took me years to figure out, to learn that I had a big part in the choices I was making. Yeah.
That's profound.
Well, what was that?
I said, that's profound. That's awareness for any of us.
Yeah. I mean, we choose our lives. And so I realized I didn't know what it was that was waiting for me, but I knew I needed to go there, and I didn't know what it was going to be. I had no idea. I just had an inner knowing that I needed to go in a certain direction. I had a lot of pressure not to. I lost quite a few friends because they didn't want me to change. But
it's often threatening to other people. I've found that as I do my own transformation. But that what you were feeling was your intuition saying, we want you to go down this trail, and you will see where you're going as you go down the trail. That's often how I feel when I'm writing. I don't know where it's going to go. Yeah, but I
know. That's the fun part of writing to me.
Oh, isn't it?
The story
I want to
makes
find out myself what's going to happen next. That's what's right. But your title of your book suggests that truth is not a neutral force, but a complicated one. So I have a question here. What kind of quote unquote trouble were you most interested in exploring? The personal cost of truth, the social consequences, or even the ways we sometimes use truth as a weapon. I hope that's not too much to ask at one time.
Truth as a weapon. I'm not quite sure what to make of that.
Yeah.
The title to me is about the fact that, there's the expression, the truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable. And that's the trouble. And I think a lot of people, understandably, don't want to go down that road because it is hard, and you do lose a lot in the process, but you gain so much. But it's not the easy road. But as my the therapist that I write about in this story told me very clearly, there isn't an easy route. We're all going to go there sooner or later. So you can pick the hard way or the harder way. These are your options.
Where life is about challenges. It's like we're in a big schoolroom while we're here on Earth.
Exactly.
And we don't advance forward without this. It's like we have to have a certain amount of resistance.
Yes. And I was in so much denial about so many things. This show would have to be 24 hours long, and then we still wouldn't get to it. It just amazes me that I'm still on the planet, honestly. And I've told my husband many times that I'm not being hyperbolic. I would have been dead in a dumpster decades ago if it weren't for making the decision that I made. And that's the little blurb that you guys asked me to pick a blurb to read about and to read to you. And I thought, because that's the decision that changed everything for me in that moment. And it was mostly fueled by fear and intuition and a lot of curiosity. And a lot of trust in this person. I don't know why I trusted this person exactly. She was not somebody that I would have picked if I had my picker out. But my picker was notoriously broken anyway. So
I think you're kind of being hard on, though. I don't know. I'm hearing it and I'm thinking a young girl raised in a certain family with certain types of dynamics is supposed to have the emotional maturity to be able to stick up for herself because, she was raised that way, right? And have a strong, come on, folks. I mean, if you look at like psychiatrists talking about people with personality disorders, and then you have people who have, like your first husband looked like he would be what we call dual diagnosis. He had multiple addictions, including being a malignant narcissist.
Yeah.
And when somebody like that targets you, you can be the most brilliant, intelligent person in the world. They will weave a story and they will wrap you around their little tiny finger. And I don't know. And what a lot of psychiatrists have said, like in Psychopath Free, they say, if you're targeted, there isn't a damn thing you can do about it because they are just so damn good. So I think that what I would say is to give the victims of these types of people grace. And that also we have to take culture into consideration, that women in the 1960s and 70s, what were we taught? We didn't know how to handle our own credit card. We weren't entitled to a credit card. We didn't know how to put a down payment on a house. We weren't entitled to own a house. So we had to learn how to do all of these things. We certainly weren't raised and taught how to do them, let alone sticking up for ourselves in a relationship like that. So that was kind of what I took away from it. The question that I wanted to know, and this was the thing that I got, particularly towards when you start to get into the meaty part that I think you're going to read about today. Did you find that the actual act of writing about it was in and of itself eye-opening? Because I just reading it and I'm thinking, oh my God, the other thing is that you lived my life, Elizabeth. Like I went to Seattle, I grew up in Seattle, Washington, and like I know these areas, and I love Simon and Garfunkel, even your references to music and the types of jerks that would always, it's like it's the bell that clangs the loudest gets the most attention, and these jerks clang the loudest. So of course we give them our attention. We kind of feel sorry for them, and the next thing you know, we're paying their rent. It happened to me.
I was very
I basically
with
got
that.
trafficked. I got conned into going out to LA with a guy like this. The next thing I know, I'm living in a room with a hot plate for 5 years, paying his credit cards off. So I think we have to show ourselves grace. But that was my question. Can you talk a little bit about the process? It was a 5-year process. How it helped you, how it changed you, just how it was a therapeutic tool in and of itself to just write something like this?
Well, it was extremely therapeutic. I would catch myself just weeping over certain scenes that really surprised me, because I felt like I had processed those feelings. And and compiling it all and putting it together in one piece, focusing, obviously it's a memoir. So a memoir isn't designed to be autobiographical. It's designed to focus on a theme. I could write 10 memoirs.
But it still forces you to relive in the moment you're writing. I know this from my own experiences. I wasn't surprised you got so emotionally involved. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no,
I just wanted to say that.
That's why they pay you the big bucks. No, I think the part of the story that actually was the biggest surprise to me was when I write about my father's death, and it just hit me so hard again. And that really surprised me. It was beautiful. And I got to be with him right before he died.
Oh, I did too.
And I never felt so honored in my whole life. Now, my father and I never had a good relationship. We had a bad relationship by any measure. But to be present for something like that felt like such an honor. And I thought I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere else.
I was with my father in his last moments also. I know exactly what you're going through. Everything coming up. I just wanted to say that that's one of the gifts of an author. In your experiencing that, you made us experience it as well. Good. You brought that energy to it. You can't help but infuse that into the writing. I've said this, that you're one of the better writers we've had on here, and I'm so glad you didn't have a ghostwriter. I'm so glad you wrote this yourself. You had to write it yourself.
Yeah, I had to.
I hope I'm correct in this question I'm going to ask you, but the book does seem to suggest that truth and honesty aren't always the same thing. And was that a distinction, something you set out to explore intentionally, or did it just emerge organically as the story developed? And I think already you're telling us a lot of this did emerge organically. I realize now when I'm asking that. You were very much living this as you were doing it.
Yeah,
but
well,
how much did you set out intentionally to do in the beginning?
Well, I had the intention of laying it all out, trying to be respectful of the fact that there are real people in this story who are still living real lives. And this isn't about blaming anybody. This is just about recognizing something that happened over decades and that created the psychological mindset I had to be vulnerable to a malignant narcissist. I think, I'd like to think anyway, now that if I met that man, I would think, wow, what a jerk, you know, and that would be about as much energy as I'd give to him. But at the time, I honestly didn't believe anybody would ever love me. And here's this man coming at me with tears in his eyes, devotion, saying he can't live without me. And I fell for it. And that marriage lasted, well, I write about that. It was over as soon as the last guest left the house. We had the mayor of Sun Valley, Idaho, conduct our wedding at our little house that, unbeknownst to me, I was paying the rent for.
Cold cut sandwiches on your wedding, right?
Well, that very night, he said he was going to go out and go to town and buy some beer. Town was maybe a mile away. And he didn't come home for 3 days. So that was my initiation. I knew I was leaving, but I also didn't realize that he had spent all my money, which, was a fortune to me. It was something like $1,500 or something.
Well, that was a fortune to you. It was probably everything you had. So it was a fortune. I was just going to say, I have a friend who literally had that happen with their partner, took off for Las Vegas for 3 days and came back. Said this was back in the era of video stores. He was going to go and return some videotapes and didn't show up till 3 days later, and then found out he ran off to Vegas. So just want to throw that out.
There you go.
Yeah,
I see this. I think he was related to my ex. I think there's a lot of that out there, and that's really why I thought I was really writing this for women. I have
push my buttons. That's why I wanted you in the studio.
I have received communications from men who related to this character, but and this story from the quote unquote victim side of the coin. But I really was thinking more about women in general, because it seems more pervasive, and I could be completely wrong about that, but I ran a crisis center for 15 years, and I'd say 3/4 of the callers were female. But that's also a cultural thing. I think it's more acceptable for women to ask for help.
I think this can happen too. This is kind of what happened to my stepdad. He walked out of the house. My mom took the house. And, he was raising all these stepkids. They weren't his kids. He had no kids. So he was paying the rent because my mother wanted this beautiful house in University of Washington. It has a bidet. It's going to be so great.
Well, it has a bidet.
And I'll get a job. Don't worry. Yeah, right. So he got stuck working his ass off to pay for this house. And then all of her kids moved in. Isn't it great? The kids are moving in. So, he left and we took the house. So it can be a situation like, I know. I didn't realize it was a problem until I turned like 40 or something. Like, wow, that was really awful. What happened?
Yeah.
What did I know? I was 17. It's like, oh, my stepdad left. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope he's paying alimony. We often don't see the pain we cause other people. We only want to see ourselves, But now I think back as an adult and say, wow, that must have been really horrible. My stepfather worked so hard. He had a house when he met my mother, and he lost everything in that divorce. So, but yeah, you're right. It usually falls the other way. And I think that has to do with just economic vulnerability, that a lot of the time it's the women that are often the most economically vulnerable.
Typically.
So I don't know. In my case, I was always the one that made the money. And I was actually comfortable with that. It was a hard adjustment for me to make to finally got married again after 25 years. But I married someone who was and is financially responsible, almost to a fault. So it was very challenging for me to accept this protective, giving, providing energy. I'd never experienced that before. So it was a very new experience for me. And it took quite some time to adjust to it.
I could get used to that.
It's surprising. It's surprising that for me, it was a challenging shift to make.
Yeah. Elizabeth, would you do us the honor of reading perhaps a section from your book? I think we'd all be thrilled to be able to hear the author's voice. And tell us which pages you'll be reading so that those of us with the book can follow along.
Yeah, I'm starting at the bottom of page 213. And this is a scene where I have just started. I've been my very first therapy session. And, this dear woman spent about a year and a half just getting me to have a feeling in the first place. But here is our first session or a portion of it. Jean plucked up her pen and legal pad, and for the next half hour fired off questions about my past, saying, uh-huh, or I see a lot. She scrawled copious notes till she stopped, looking at my face, a pause, a clearing of the throat. You grew up in an alcoholic family and learned to be other-oriented while you studied your father's mood swings and worried about your mother's reactions to them. You learned to tune in to everyone else's feelings while abandoning your own. It's a defense that helped you survive your childhood, but it's not working anymore. She waited as if the words were rising deep inside her. That's why you're here. Struck dumb by Jean's thunderbolt, my first response to a revelation was to blink at her. I felt my mind briefly slip its tracks. Say what? Dad's an alcoholic? She might as well have said Dad was the drummer for the Rolling Stones, Mick's best buddy. My heart leapt in its cage. Heat formed behind my eyelids. What just happened here? I had the sensation of falling, even though I was sitting. I knew she could help me. How? I couldn't say. And what the heck, I wondered, is other-oriented. We can work through this, she continued, but it won't be fast and it won't be easy. History, if ignored, tends to repeat itself. What you don't know can hurt you. You've heard the expression, what's past is prologue? My inner English major perked her ears right up at that. Sure, Shakespeare, right? Right, and it's true, she said. The past means resolution. History is the roadmap. Without it, there's no way to navigate the future. We'll get down on it, your past, that is, if you choose to proceed. The only way through grief is grief itself, and you've got a lot to grieve. Memories stored, not only in the brain, but throughout the body, the blood, the bones, the muscles, the nerves. She coughed into her closed fist. Your tears will tell you your body knows the truth. You've got a lot of pain to let go of. It's organic, systemic. You can do it now with me, or you can spend the rest of your life at it. We all go there. It's in the nature of the world to reveal itself. I deflated. I guess I don't know what that means. Do you know the definition of insanity? I dredged my mind for a witty retort, having none. I settled for, don't think so. A hint of a smile played at the corners of her mouth, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. It's up to you, your choice, the hard way or the harder way. What I'm saying here is you don't have to live and relive your history the rest of your life. You don't have to struggle like Sisyphus. You know about Sisyphus? The guy with the boulder? Condemned for all eternity to roll it uphill, only to watch it fall back down of its own weight. She shrugged into her shoulders inside her sweatshirt. Futile, hopeless. You don't have to do that. Compelling image. I picked Jean's hard way, tear off the Band-Aid quick, if 10 years can be considered quick. In terms of a lifetime, I suppose it can, but that's hindsight for you. My decision was based on fear, folded in with curiosity and a heaping cup of intuition, the part of you born in the silent place between thoughts, the part that tells you what you already know. My gut said, go with it, or I wash my hands of you. My sixth sense chimed in. Time to man up. Anything less was like that old aphorism about rearranging the furniture on the Titanic while neglecting the hole in the hull. That's what I've been doing. I do enjoy decorating. A thought breezed through my head. Maybe you have to let go of who you were to become the who you will be.
Wow.
Maybe it'll be like after a forest fire, something new and stronger will find space to grow. I wasn't altogether. I wanted to know what altogether felt like. I wanted to feel whole. I wanted to stop lying to myself. I hate being lied to. It's a waste of time. I'd wasted enough time. Dan.
Yes, that's the feeling too. It's just how much time they demand. You know, people with personality disorders, they just need so much attention. And then so many years of your life is just wasted trying to get back to where you were before this person got a hold of you and unraveled everything.
If it's even possible to ever go back to that again. Because I like to think you're stronger for having gone through this. So you wouldn't
10 years to get my studio apartment back.
God.
You know,
I'm grateful.
to get my studio apartment back in Portland. First, last, rent, the furniture, the cups, the saucers, the spoons, everything that got thrown in the trash when lured out to California by this psychopath, which was my story. You know, I got lured out there by a nut job. So I could really relate to this book. And I'm really glad I invited you, Elizabeth, because I think that your story is something that a lot of people can relate to.
This is just an amazing piece
I
of
hope
work.
so.
You're a gifted writer. I'm glad that you faced your own pain, you know, went through your own going through the truth to get answers, because this is going to allow many others to do so, because you did this. You know, everything is on the page, even just listening to you speak. I hope you're going to do the audiobook, by the way, because you read beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you just put so much of your passion even into that. This is very much your story. I don't know if are we still asking questions, or are we going to wrap
you
it
want
up?
to, yeah.
Well, I do have one
minutes.
here. I have a lot of questions here, and I'm just like, where do I even start here? But I know the book seems to ask whether truth always leads to freedom, or sometimes simply to reckoning. And do you believe reckoning can be a form of liberation?
I have to say yes to that. I mean, I can't speak for everybody's experience, but in my own experience, I mean, the truth can be a horrible thing to have to face. And then, you know, once you embrace the truth, you kind of can't ignore it, and you kind of got to make adjustments. And sometimes those adjustments are scary and hard and expensive and logistically feel impossible.
Messy.
I mean,
I just sense a lot of us are going to be going through this year. And I wanted to hear what you had to say about that. And I feel you've done a valuable service here in writing this book. And
that was my goal.
Have you here on this show, we're introducing you to many, many people who are going to want to read this book. And they should.
Well, I hope so. I think that that was my goal in writing the book. It wasn't, you know, to become rich and famous or anything like that. I'm good with my life the way it is. But it did seem to me like these experiences, coupled with my ability to write them down, because those two things don't necessarily go together. And I thought, I can share this. And even if one person hears it and is able to use that to force their own strength, then it's a win.
Yes, I agree.
It's a win. And I do believe it's been more than one person, but I was okay with that. I mean, I love words anyway, so I would be writing whether or not anybody read anything I wrote. I just published a new book today.
Did you?
Oh, we were going to ask about your latest book. That was the last question, actually.
Yeah. Oh, it's
congratulations.
Well, here's the proof copy. Cheap. I don't know. Is that backwards?
You were holding it a little close to the camera. I couldn't read it.
Oh, it's too far away. Pull back a little bit so we can
pull
see
back.
Dance with Me, Franny. Nice shirt. What's that about?
Yeah. Well, it's about a young woman who comes from basically a bit of no parents, lost her parents as a teenager. She meets a woman who is in her 90s. And this is based on a woman I met on an airplane named Dorothy Gaines years ago. And this woman so impressed me that I wanted to create a character for her. She's 92 years old. She knows her sand is running out in her hourglass. She runs to have her memoir written. So she hires a ghostwriter, the main character, Franny Chase, to write her memoir. And Franny goes to live in her quite fancy Westwood Village home, and the rest of the story goes on from there. But Franny needs a lot of help. Franny's a little confused, but Franny, it's basically
like Tuesdays with Maury. It sounds a little bit.
Yeah, it does sound that way.
Oh, well, I'll take that.
When is your book going to be available?
Well, I believe in paperback it's available today, or
Really?
well, I don't know how quickly all that happens, but it was published today.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it available on Amazon? Is it available on Amazon?
Amazon, okay. Bookstores. It's got a nice Kirkus review.
You know what? I'm going to pay you a big compliment. I love your writing so much. I want to read this. I want to get the book.
Yeah, if you could send the
You are
book, maybe
so
we can have
good.
you on for the next book. Yeah, send the next book.
I mean, I really enjoy your writing. That's the best compliment.
You have several new fans. You have several new fans.
Yay!
Yeah, people are excited. Yay, new book is coming out today.
You are where you're supposed to be right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible to not be where you're supposed to be. I've kind of learned that.
I think Trump was not supposed to be in the White House, but that's my own.
I don't know. I'm an optimist. I sort of think that something good can come from all of this. And maybe we needed to face the truth of our own culture. And, all the cockroaches are visible right now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's a good thing. I have to think that way so that I don't, slink into despair.
I subscribe to that belief also. I like that. The eternal optimism that good will come out of all of this. That couldn't have happened any other way. That's part of facing the truth. However unpleasant it may be.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for Taco Tuesday. And of course, we give a round of applause to the amazing Elizabeth Stevenson for sharing her amazing work, The Trouble with Truth. You can get a copy on Amazon. We highly recommend it. And hopefully Elizabeth can come back again with her next
That would
book.
be lovely.
Yeah, maybe we can do that. All right, everyone. Chuck, do you have any announcements for anybody?
Well, let's see. Just if you want to reach me, I'm dransfieldchuck@gmail.com, just my name reversed. It's always my honor to do intuitive readings for you, to do original artwork for you, to often get messages from the subjects as I'm doing the artwork. I can give that to you in addition to a portrait. And also I have a channel, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles, a chat show on Mondays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, Chuck's Captivating Chat. And Whimsy, do you have announcements?
Yes. If you'd like to reach me for a reading or a consultation, you can book me through Booksy, Dr. Whimsy Anderson. It's easy to Google me, or you can usually find the information below the videos. And I think that's it. Elizabeth, stay where you're at. Don't leave. We're going to just say goodbye to the audience. All right, we're out of here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
See you Thursday.